Okay, it's my last day in Costa Rica. I'm leaving today, but not until like midnight, and so I have the day to do a few more things. So I'm heading to a chocolate and coffee tour in a little bit, and then I'll go to La Fortuna Waterfall. And then I have to drive back to San Jose because that's where my flight leaves from, which is like a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. Yeah, and I'll be going solo to these things because Cameron left a little earlier. His flight leaves a bit earlier than mine, and so I just have a day to myself, which I think will be pretty fun. The coffee and chocolate tour took place on a small farm called North Fields. The tour was split into two sections, one about chocolate and the other about coffee, but we started with both, the tour guide giving an introduction about each and handing out samples as well.
Does anyone in here know what a barista is? Yeah, a person that makes coffee in a coffee bar. We could say.
After the introduction, we started with chocolate, first talking about the cacao fruit, its origins, history, and general information.
You're gonna see that on the inside there's a lot of seeds. We could have between 3-5 seeds to 60-80 of them. It's gonna depend on the size of our pot. And also, well, it's gonna be really important for us to know that the consistency of each one of these cacao seeds, it's gonna be 60% cacao powder, 40% cacao butter. That is going to be really important for making the chocolate.
The next bit was about fermentation and the process the beans must go through to be ready to be made into chocolate.
This box, let's say maybe instead of laurel wood, we use pine wood. Pine has a strong smell, so well, that smell will get into our seeds. Inside our box, in here, all around and in the bottom, we're gonna put banana leaves because they have natural yeast on them. So that's what's gonna help us make this fermentation process.
The tour consisted of moving from station to station, stopping at each for 5 to 15 minutes for the guide to give her spiel and then moving on. Along the way, we also saw a couple other interesting plants, including pineapples and this one, called a beehive ginger, which stores water and produces a liquid that can apparently be used as shampoo. The last stop for the chocolate portion of the tour covered the entire rest of the chocolate making process, which includes roasting, grinding, separating, mixing, tempering, and more. It's quite complicated, but it's here where the magic really happens. Mixing the inner part of the bean, called the nib, with other ingredients like sugar and milk powder is what creates all the different variations of chocolate. A fun part of this tour is that they give you a lot of samples and they let you have as much as you want. The guide gave us generous portions of different kinds of chocolate and coffee as well. The next station was on sugarcane, where the tour guide had people crank this device to squeeze the plant juices out, starting with a kid and then progressively getting stronger volunteers as she folded the cane to get maximum liquid. At the end, she also offered us moonshine made from sugarcane and taught us a fun little cheers in Spanish, which I was only half able to say.
Let's say, pa arriba!
Pa arriba!
Abajo!
Abajo!
Adentro! Adentro! Pura vida, salud! No busca
No, pues estoy acostumbrado a tomar alcohol, güey.
The second part of the tour was, of course, on coffee. We started with talking about the coffee plant, its origins, and the spread of coffee production. The coffee plant, interestingly, can only grow in very specific conditions near the equator, so all your coffee comes from around these regions. After this introduction, we learned about the bean roasting process, how it affects the acidity, and consequently, the flavor of the coffee.
Take a look. you will see there is gonna come something out of it. That's the last layer of skin that coffee has. Coffee has 5 different layers of skin.
Again, the tour guide gave us a lot of samples. She brewed us a cup of coffee and gave us a delicious arepa to go along with it. The last part of the tour was about the harvesting of the cherries from the coffee plant, how the seeds are processed to become beans, and a little about how the coffee gets from here to our hands. I'm not going to get into all the details because there was a lot, and honestly, I forgot a lot and had to look up a bunch of things while making this vlog, but it was really good. The guide was knowledgeable and personable, and the samples were plentiful and tasty. 10 out of 10 would recommend, even if you're not a big coffee person, which I am not. After the tour, I headed to La Fortuna Waterfall, a few miles outside the city, and accessible by some 500 steps down into a valley. You're allowed to swim in the waters, so there was a ton of people hanging out at the base of this 250-foot waterfall, but a little further down the river it was less crowded, and it was nice to just chill out and watch the fish for a bit. At the top of the falls, I grabbed a quick lunch and then found a small garden to explore before leaving. But that's about it for this vlog series. 5 months late, but better late than never, right? Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next series about my trip to Alaska. See you guys next time. Bye! Okay, so I'm about to leave the waterfall, drive back to San Jose where I have to return the rental car and fly out back to the States. It's really raining outside, so hopefully the drive won't be too bad. Also, it's been like, you know, the forecast in Costa Rica is like, it always says like 30, 50, 70% of rain, but like it usually just rains a little and stops. But this has been going for a while, and it's like the one time all my like rain gear is packed. It is what it is, I suppose. It's the rainforest. What you gonna do? But it's about 3:30 now, so that means I should probably get back into San Jose by 6:30. And we're almost home.